Hey, what's up guys? It's time for a bit of an equipment update and a chat about compression on the Xbox. So last few videos are all about me showing people how to make gaming headsets out of decent headphones, and showed you a how-to as to how to separate game audio and chat audio using a variety of bits and pieces, most of which are now in that drawer. So the one downside that I noted on that was that is the amount of cables. So I just pretty much had enough of cables. This is now my desk, a little bit more zen. So I invested in the new Astro Mixamp TR to replace a lot of the kit that I've got. And I've got to say, I'm pretty impressed. As you can see, there's no cables that need to come out of my controller now, which is awesome. The one thing I was surprised at though is I expected there to be more compression coming out of the Astro. So I'll explain compression in a second, but just to go through the setup that I've got at the moment. So basically, the audio comes out of my Xbox through the optical cable into the Astro. It's connected to the Xbox using the USB cable, and then this one here allows you to change the volume of all audio. And then this one here is I think that's all voice. Yeah, voice on this side and game on this, so you can switch to 100% voice, 100% game, and then somewhere in between. It's not as good as the setup that I had before. So before, you'll probably remember that I was using this, and I had voice on that one and game on that one. This gave an awful lot more a greater degree of accuracy in terms of tweaking, whereas this, so that's 100% in, if I just knock it up one notch, that is not as quiet as it would have been when that one there was like at number 1 on there. So that's the downside, but the upside is less cables. Let's pop that out of the way. Into the TR, then out of that, I'm still using a non-gaming headset. So this is new headphones as well. So these are Philips Fidelio X2HRs. They are amazing. The old SHP 9500s are still up there, so not completely redundant. But these are the next step up. They retail pretty expensive. They were retail at £250, £260, but Prime Day they were down 125, so half price. So I was like, yeah, I've got to have some of those. And then I'm using, so my V motor actually broke. The inline volume cable was actually introducing a left-right channel bias, which is terrible for gaming. I mean, you can't have one channel louder than the other. So this is an Antlion mod mic. I think it's the 5. So that just straps on to a little magnetic clip there. So it clips onto my headphones. It means I can listen to music on those when I'm not gaming. And then I can use the microphone. So out of a microphone for gaming. So out of here, it's the usual splitter. This actually comes with the Mixamp. There's a Sennheiser one that I would used in my previous videos. So microphone on that one and then audio on that one. Now, I've got a whole load of stuff in between. So this here is, or this bit here is an audio compressor. It comes from like 1995, something like that. I picked it up on eBay for, I think it was £27. So it's a Behringer Composer MDX 2100. Basically used by music producers to compress audio. Again, I'll come to compression in a second to explain. So this comes out the back. So this is what would normally go direct into your headset. That comes out the back of there, and then blue cable here goes into channel 1 and channel 2. So left on that one and right on that one, and then out so these are XLR connections on the back here. You can use TRS as well. Comes out of there and into another new purchase, headphone amp. And again, I can't sing praises of this. This is a JDS Labs Atom. It is phenomenal. The sound quality coming out of it is just so clean. Music more so than PUBG. Actually, I wouldn't get one just for PUBG. That'd be ridiculous. Listening to music on my laptop, it is just next level. And then the white cable then just goes straight into my headset. So the important bit, I guess, about this video is a compressor. So what I found with a Mixamp is started playing PUBG, and oh my god, I got into I could hear footsteps. I was like, this is amazing, and then I got into a firefight, and I was like, my ears are bleeding. The noise is just so like the difference in noise is so loud. So I put a compressor in between the Mixamp and the headphone amp. Now, what a compressor does, and I've got a very nice little diagram here to explain it. It changes. This is what's called dynamic range. So dynamic range is the difference between the high and then the low. So PUBG has an insanely large dynamic range, in so much as in order to hear the footsteps, you've got to have your volume quite high, or you just don't hear them. And then when you've got people shooting, or the plane flying over, or driving a car, or any loud sounds, basically, it will make your ears bleed. There's a real danger of people getting tinnitus actually from doing that. You can actually damage your hearing, and somebody of my age, which I'm not going to tell you how old I am, but I'm old enough to know better. I'm a little bit sensitive about my hearing. I don't want to lose my hearing. So what a compressor does is it actually squishes or compresses. There we go. Focus. Compresses the high volumes and increases the volume of the low. So basically narrows that dynamic range. So that's basically what this little, well, not so little, bit of kit here does. So we've got it's two channels, so left channel and right channel. And there's a very helpful button in the middle, which when you click that one in, it means, so basically you could control these two independently, which we don't want to do. We want to compress them the same. So that one there pairs the two together. So the controls on this side here control both left and right channel. So in terms of sort of compression, then you've got a threshold. So this is in dB. So threshold is at the point at which the compression starts to take effect. So you don't want to be compressing this. You do want to be compressing everything over a certain volume. So that's what that one there. That's what that setting does. Ratio is the ratio of compression. So this is set to 3:1. Now I've got to try and remember all of this because my science knowledge isn't great. But 3:1 compression. So everything that is above that level will be compressed 3 times. So if it's 10 decibel, let's do it at nice easy sums. If it's 9 decibels above that, it will be compressed down to 1 decibel above that. If it's 18 decibels above that, it will be compressed down to 9 decibels above that. There we go. Is that my good maths? Maybe. No, 18 is not 3, is it? That'd be 27. 27. If it was 27 decibels, it would be 9 decibels. So you get it, right? So it's basically 3:1. So it gives it's a progressive curve of compression. There's then some other settings in terms of attack. That's when it kicks in, and release, and that's when it lets go. So when the compression hits in, and then when it releases it. Still tweaking with these, but attack is basically set to the lowest it can possibly go, and release at the moment is on a 0.2 seconds. And then output, and I still play around with this. So basically, once you've narrowed the dynamic range, you can then increase the volume of the whole thing. At the moment, I've got that set to +6. I go between 0 and +6. Just trying to work out what the best way to have it all set up is. The difference is you can run the game at the volume that you would like to run it at to be able to hear the footsteps without making your ears bleed when you get shooting and explosions. Downside is obviously the volume of shots in PUBG. They're quite clever. They obviously, the further away they are, the quieter the gunshots are going to be. So if somebody is shooting 200 meters away, that's going to sound quieter than if somebody who's shooting at 100 meters away. Compression will somewhat overcompensate, undo that calculation, so that perhaps, depending on where the levels are and whatever else, that a shot that's 200 meters away will sound possibly around the same volume as a shot that is 100 meters away, or the other way around. It would be compressing the 100-meter one down to a level that's very similar to a 200-meter shot. So you do lose a bit of perspective, but that's when you sort of start playing around with the ratio and the threshold. You don't want to go too crazy. If your ratio is up really high, then it flattens all your sound. I've had this down at 2 and up at 3. I'm in between sort of 2 and 3 most of the time, just trying to tweak this. Output from that and then actually it's both. So that's one of the things it doesn't allow me to do, which I had in the other setup, is that the amplifier was only amplifying the. No, amplifier was doing both. So I had this thing here would then allow me to sort of set the two independently. I guess this does that a little bit, but that is then going into the compressor, and it's compressing the voice chat and game audio, which is not ideal, I've got to admit. So if somebody is talking really quietly, it's going to louden their voice. So in terms of reducing the volume of the people that you're in party with, you've basically got to put it all the way down to 0 to shut them up. And then it goes into the headphone amp, which then comes into here. So I can set my overall volume using that. Yeah, I'm pretty impressed. I've got to say, I wouldn't say it makes the game easier. It's not increasing. It's not making it easier to hear footsteps, because you could always hear footsteps, but you had to have the volume so loud that the sound of of gunshots and gunshots and plane and cars and all that sort of stuff was so loud that it would make you it would be damaging your hearing, which is not awesome, and certainly you don't want to go doing any damage to any of your senses really. So yeah, that's pretty much how the setup all is now. And get rid of that off there. You can see my desk is, zoom backwards, you can see my desk is now, there's a hell of a lot less wires and cables. I've worked very hard to try and make it a little bit more zen-like, just because cables annoy me, because I've got OCDs and all the rest of it. So we can sort of, when I'm playing solo and I don't need to talk to anybody, we can hide nice and hidden. And we've just got the one. So that's obviously the DAC and the volume adjust all in one, which is nice and hidden, and then the cables all go away and then into the back of the compressor and whatever else, and then it slots nicely underneath my laptop, so that when I'm working at my desk rather than playing games at my desk, then I can just get on with stuff and there's not too much clutter to interfere. So that is pretty much that for this video. I hope it's interesting to you guys. If it is, smash a like on the video, and if you're interested in content, then hit that subscribe button. Appreciate it, guys. Enjoy your day.